I was here once. I think I was here once. I was up on the roof and I see a whole line of KKKs. I'm like, oh my god.
I tend to stick to like public lobbies and games and stuff, but I know most of my friends are currently at a lot of underground weird places.
Hear me out. Of all the people that I've ever hung out with, I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, hanging out in like furry groups is so much more chill because there's this feeling of a lack of judgment. Because you see a lot of furries, they get judged for this or that or whatever. So when you hang around with a few chill people in that culture, they're used to it, so they don't enforce it on somebody else or whatever. I rarely, if at all, see any sort of like cliquey nature or judgment in the furry culture. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm a furry. I've only recently got into the VR stuff yesterday, and only today have I been going to some public worlds. And in my first public world, two people who came in, one dressed up like Hitler. And the other one, and all they kept saying is "die in hell, furries," and I'm like, oh yeah, block. So that's my VR experience. Meet some nice people, and then you meet some awful people. You get that anywhere. But unlike normal real life, you can't hit the block button and they just disappear from reality.
I'm not just a furry. I'm also like a mix. I'm like a kind of like new breed sort of thing. I'm a phony, which is a new breed of brony and furry.
Doesn't matter. I don't really identify with any community. I mean, I can be whatever I want. I mean, that's the thing is like, I can be this. I can be this. It just depends. Like, you can be wherever you want. So that's the thing is like, you can change avatars. You can be where the hell you want. You're not confined to whatever you are. That's the important thing about understanding people are their personality. When you chat with them and you talk with them, that's where you get the value in actually discovering who people are. Not based on their avatar, not based on their appearance, not based on anything that they are representative as visually. Who doesn't want to be fluffy and petted and adored? And of course, who doesn't want attention? It's like being a cat or a dog all of a sudden. Yeah.
What's your YouTube name? So you can probably like cut this out a little bit too. Go subscribe to Humans in VR. Okay.
Or just trolls. There are trolls everywhere.
Don't tell anyone, but I'm a furry. They don't know this. Don't tell them.
I'm not a furry. I don't consider myself to be a furry, even if I look like one. But I'm definitely not a furry. I don't like this community. It's
Sounds
too...
a lot like someone who's a furry.
It's too snowflakey for me, to be honest.
It's okay if someone doesn't want to be a furry. Some people don't like that sort of thing, and it's perfectly okay. Jesus. It's the internet, Everywhere on the internet is going to have good places and bad places. I do know that most of my friends won't go to public lobbies because they'll get constantly bullied. But in my own personal experience, it's not that bad. No different than the rest of the internet as a whole.
I don't really know the misconceptions, to be honest. Well, that other person gave a good one, but kind of a false. Everyone being gay, I think it was. Because technically that's not exactly true, because not every furry's gay. I'm actually bisexual, so...
They are very sensitive.
Furries are sensitive.
I'm a very direct person.
Well, it's true.
A lot. And I mean a lot of people block me or just straight up hate me for just telling them facts or opinions.
Sounds a lot like Twitter.
If you had asked me a few years ago, I would have said maybe, but with the sheer amount of people that are getting into things like VR chat and just the VR scene in general, I'd say it's more of like the modern goth where you see it, you don't think much of it. It's not nearly as poignant as it would have been a couple years ago, due to the sheer amount of people you see, whether they're streaming it, making videos on it, or just like me, just on here having a good time. You see it a lot more than it's grown way more than a lot of counterculture pieces would have in a much shorter time, I'd say.
My girlfriend, she kept showing me these videos of these furries in VR chat. He was gathered some friends and some people up to guess who's the not furry in this panel of like imposter, and they're asking them questions. It was so much fun. Where they're all like, asking these questions to prove they're furry, but you got the one non-furry in there who's like trying to blend in, answering the questions. It was really funny, and that kind of got me to actually spend the money to get a headset.
Well, my experience is if you go to like random worlds, there's a little bit not Not bad people, but they are a bit weird, some people. You need to go to the trusted worlds, like this one and Fur Lounge and some other ones, because they're all posers and they are basically looking for victims. Either crash them or just fuck with them.
When I looked at all these videos of VR, I'm like, holy shit, I might as well get a headset. And I got full body tracking, but I thought it was cool. So I'm like, I might as well do this because I never did this before. So that's why I'm here. Because you know what? I thought, oh, this, I'm not good at reality, but like I always worked a lot and like, I'm like, I don't have no time for games and stuff. And I'm like, hey, I should get a headset and see how this goes. And now, yeah, I'm on here.
The fact that most of these people in here are furry haters, the ones in military outfits that I've muted, and sometimes they bring a crasher into like furry worlds to crash us and stuff like that just to get us out of here. There's like avatars that can go over the bit rate and just crash completely, like crash quests and stuff like that from just being seen by them. I know a friend who can literally like melt your quest by like overriding the CPUs and stuff like that. But yeah, I like the furry fandom for when it's like calm and peaceful. When you meet some people that are nice, or you get interviewed by a tiny lizard person.
I would say it's more welcoming than things like older versions of VRChat, like Second Life and stuff. I think a lot more people are chill on VRChat than they used to be. It's an interesting one. I used to be a really popular dancer at a furry nightclub and voice actor for a lot of sound effects on Second Life a couple years back, like maybe the year before VRChat got popular.
Well, there's always the thing people talk about how they're all deviants because there was all that stuff. Wasn't there like a CSI episode where like the murder victim was a furry in a fursuit? Yeah. As for being a furry, I've been a furry for over 20 years. Not been able to do real much because of anxiety and bad depressions and everything's going on in my life.
Just a random misconception of what I should do with my VR headset, I guess, because I got this VR headset in last January, but then my friend was like, yo, have you been like converted into a furry yet on the VRChat? And I was like, what's VRChat? And then I kind of like spent a few days in like normal worlds, I guess you could say, normal worlds, quotation marks. It was like the black cat, and I got like racially slurred out of one of those.
A lot of people are scared of the unfamiliar. If they are not already familiar with it in their lives, they are often scared of it. Scared of change, scared of the unfamiliar. And sometimes their best thing to do, they feel, is to be offensive to it. Don't know why, because we still have to have considerations about people IRL. Just as you would approach and talk to anyone IRL, you should also do so in VRChat.
I don't think that it's fun to troll people that are trying to have a good time, because I would just be hanging out with some friends of mine in the world and everything would just be normal, and then a group of like 5 or 6 freaking people would just join and just start mic spamming, making the entire mood just change.
After a long stressful day of work, hopping on here and seeing how gorgeous this map is, or flying around with a kite, I mean it's a great stress reliever, and it's also a great way to socialize and talk to people without having to leave your house.
I'm gonna say a quote I've heard many times. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Kindness is contagious. When you are kind, you inspire others. Be the spark. Spreading kindness merchandise available now.